Daniel Reeves sat alone in the upscale restaurant. The waitress stepped closer, and when he saw her eyes, he couldn't breathe.
Elena's eyes, that exact hazel with flecks of gold. How could a stranger carry his dead wife's gaze?
20 years of grief crashed into him. The waitress's eyes were a ghost, resurrected and unforgiving. He threw cash on the table and fled, his pulse a frantic alarm. He couldn't look back, but he couldn't look away.
It's her. After 2 decades of dead ends, I finally found her. I won't lose her again. Bishop, I need a full background on Anna Vega, waitress at Matilda's Bistro. No questions. Just get me the file.
You got it, Reeves, but you've chased echoes before. Don't let this one tear you apart.
The file arrived by morning. Anna Vega, adopted through Hope Springs Agency on the 14th of June, exactly 20 years ago.
Same date, same eyes. This isn't a false lead. It's a reckoning I've been running from for too long.
He opened the folder to a baby photo, with those hazel eyes already haunting, and the weight of 2 decades pressed on his chest. Daniel couldn't sleep. By morning, he was back at the restaurant, seated in the corner, waiting to see her again. Anna moved through her section with the same easy grace he'd seen the night before, her hazel eyes catching the light, Elena's light.
She has no idea. Every gesture, every tilt of her head is an echo of a woman I buried 20 years ago. Bishop, I need her address, her schedule, anything that tells me who she is outside these walls.
Already on it. But Reeves, watching her from the shadows, won't undo the past. You sure about this?
I've been sure since the moment she looked at me with my wife's eyes. Just get me the rest.
Bishop emailed a report. A modest apartment in Queens, an elderly adoptive mother, no criminal record. A life built from nothing. That night, he sat in his office. Elena's photograph cradled in his hands. The same hazel eyes stared back, impossibly bright, eternally young.
I promised you I'd find her, Elena. Tomorrow, I keep that promise.
He placed the photo gently in his briefcase beside Anna's adoption file. By dawn, he'd be parked outside her apartment. As her shift ended, Daniel waited in the alley. His hands were clammy, his heart a fist of hope and dread.
Anna, wait, please. I need to talk to you about something that happened 20 years ago.
Who are you? How do you know my name?
I think I might be your father. Your eyes, you have my late wife's eyes. I've been searching for years.
You are insane. Get away from me before I scream. I am not your daughter. I don't know what sick game you are playing, but stay out of my life. You wealthy people think you can buy anything, but you can't buy me. If you really gave up a child, carry that alone.
She vanished into the rain. Daniel stood frozen, her words sharper than any knife.
She hates me, but she has Elena's fire too. I won't give up.
It was the worst rejection of his life, and yet it confirmed what he already knew. She was wounded, and she was his. The rain had stopped, but the sting remained. Daniel went home and did the only thing left.
I wrote until dawn, every word a plea for forgiveness, a promise she never heard.
He told her how Elena's eyes had first caught his in a crowded lecture hall, young and full of forever. How Elena's last smile held on until she placed the baby in his arms, and then let go. He confessed the black fog of grief that made him sign the papers, convinced his love wasn't enough.
I have spent 20 years paying for that cowardice, and now she's alive.
The letter, 6 pages long, was folded into an envelope with Anna's name, written in shaking script. He had it delivered to her apartment that morning, a quiet surrender on her doorstep. Anna found it after her shift, tucked beneath her door like a secret she never asked for. Daniel waited, not knowing if she would ever read it or if his words would only push her further away. Anna set the envelope on her kitchen table, unopened. The handwriting was desperate, and that scared her more than his words.
Mama, did you ever meet my birth parents? This man says he's my father.
I was told you were left at a church. No names, no papers, just a blanket and a prayer.
Even my mother knows nothing. I am a ghost before I was ever born.
Misha, I don't know if that man is your blood, but I know you. Don't let fear rob you of the truth.
That night, she opened the envelope. His words weren't cold. They bled with the same loss she had always felt. I have spent 20 years searching for you, and I would trade every fortune to undo that one decision.
He lost her too, and he's been alone all this time.
She dried her eyes and typed a short message. Just a time and a place. Coffee. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., Oasis Cafe. Daniel arrived early, a tremor in his fingers. The cafe smelled of hope and espresso, but the stakes were higher than he could ever stomach.
You said you had answers. I am here. Talk?
I loved your mother more than my own life. When she died, a part of me died too. I wasn't capable of raising you.
You had 20 years. A billionaire can hire armies. If you really wanted to find me, you would have.
I tried. The agency sealed the records. Every private investigator hit a wall. I never stopped.
Words are cheap. My whole life I've been somebody's paperwork. I need proof.
Then let's take a DNA test. I'll do it today, right now. Whatever it takes for you to believe me.
Fine. But don't expect anything. If the test says you are my father, it still doesn't make you my dad.
They left the cafe without a handshake. The only thing between them now was a laboratory and 2 decades of silence. By the end of the week, they stood in a sterile room, the swab a cold promise that could either break them or bind them. The technician swabbed their cheeks with clinical precision. Neither spoke. The silence was heavier than any words could be.
This tiny swab carries the answer to 20 years of emptiness. Please, let it be her.
He looks so certain. If the test says yes, I can't promise I won't break.
The vials were sealed and labeled. Results would take 2 weeks. Daniel reached for her arm, but she pulled away. She left without a backward glance. Daniel watched her go, then drove straight to the old adoption agency. The Hope Springs building was shabbier than he remembered, its files buried in bureaucratic dust.
I need access to a sealed file from 20 years ago. Reeves' adoption. There's been a mistake.
The clerk hesitated, her eyes flicking to a back room. Something wasn't right.
You are hiding something. I've waited 20 years. Don't make me tear this place apart.
The clerk paled and admitted a sealed secondary file had been marked for destruction years ago by an unknown party. The clerk stammered that the file was in a locked archive. Daniel's fist hit the counter. 20 years of silence would end today.
I own the building this agency leases. Open that archive or I'll have every file seized by noon.
A supervisor appeared, keys jangling. They led him to a basement archive thick with dust and forgotten secrets. A drawer labeled Restricted Access was pulled open. Inside, a single folder waited. Reeves, confidential.
This is the truth. Elena couldn't tell me. Whatever it is, it'll change everything.
He didn't open it there. The walls had ears. Instead, he tucked it into his briefcase. A bomb waiting to explode across the city. Anna stared at her phone, waiting for a lab result that felt like a verdict.
Mama, what if the test says yes? I don't know if I can forgive a man who gave me away.
Forgiveness isn't for him, Miha. It's for you. But you don't have to carry that weight today.
Anna clutched the adoption box, a relic of a life built on someone else's choice. The waiting was its own secret torture. The lab report arrived on a Tuesday morning. Daniel tore it open, the word match burning through him like a second chance.
99.999%. She is my daughter. Nothing else matters now.
He texted Anna immediately, and an hour later, she met him under the indifferent autumn sky, her face a mask of stone.
You think this paper fixes 20 years? You didn't want me then, and you still don't know how to want me. You are a coward who gave away a baby because she was too much trouble. I won't be your redemption project.
Please, let me explain.
Explain what? That you had every resource and still chose to forget me. I am done with your excuses.
She tore the paper in two, then four, the pieces fluttering to the ground like a broken promise. She walked away, and he didn't follow. Some chasms couldn't be crossed with money or tears.
She's right. I never fought for her, but what I don't know yet might destroy us both.
Daniel drove home with the sealed file await in his briefcase, heavier than the DNA result he had already lost.
I can't face that envelope tonight, but I can't let it sit like a ghost in the dark.
He opened the outer seal. Inside was a smaller envelope marked Elena Reeves, personal. The ink faded but firm. Pinned to it was a yellowed note. Letters Elena never sent, addressed to her daughter.
She wrote to Anna. All these years I was grasping at ashes, and Elena was reaching toward a future.
His hands trembled as he touched the sealed flap. He could almost hear her voice in the crease of the paper.
If I open this, the Elena I've mourned might shatter, but it might also save what's left of us.
He set the envelope beside Elena's photograph. The same hazel eyes, separated by decades, now united by ink and longing. But he couldn't read them alone. Anna deserved to stand on the same ground before the truth opened any doors.
I'll wait until she's ready. This truth is a gift she can't refuse, but I won't force it on her broken heart.
After shredding the DNA result, Anna knew she needed more than a stranger's tears. She needed the truth on her own terms. The next morning, she walked into the agency, her adoption file clutched in her hand like a weapon.
I am Anna Vega. I was adopted through this agency. I want every record you have on my birth family.
The clerk, now cooperative after Daniel's pressure, disappeared into the back and returned with a sealed manila envelope.
What is this? You told me there was nothing else.
The clerk murmured something about a restricted file released only to the birth parent. Anna's grip tightened.
If it was for the birth parent, then it's meant for the one who gave me away. Why does it feel like it belongs to me?
She didn't open it there. The walls felt like they were listening, and her heart couldn't take another hollow promise in this cold room. She left the agency with the envelope pressed against her chest, a secret she'd never known existed. Inside, a smaller note was tucked beside the larger letter. A single page handwritten not by Daniel, but by someone who called herself Mama. Anna locked her apartment door, slid to the floor, and broke the seal on the larger envelope. Elena's handwriting spilled out, delicate and decisive. My dearest Anna, I write this as I hold you for the last time. My heart cannot bear it, and nor can my body.
She didn't abandon me. She was dying. And she wrote me a gospel of love.
The doctors found a shadow in my heart before you were born. I was told I might not survive, that the strain could claim us both. A weathered photo fell out, a young Elena holding a swaddled baby. Her eyes were full of both love and goodbye.
He didn't choose to give me away. She made him promise. He's been carrying a wound I kept tearing open.
I chose this, my love, not him. I chose it so you would never watch me fade, so you would never blame yourself.
She sacrificed her last months for me, and I repaid her by hating him. What have I done?
For the first time, Anna understood that the story she had told herself was only half the truth. The other half was a mother's final gift. Daniel hadn't slept. The sealed envelope sat on his desk like a confession he was finally ready to hear. The doctors found a shadow in my heart. I made Daniel promise to give you to someone who could raise you, someone who wouldn't break.
Elena took this burden all on her own. She loved me enough to let me hate myself for 20 years.
A photograph slipped out. Elena, her eyes soft but carrying a weight he'd never understood until now. He broke. He grabbed his phone, his thumb hovering over her name. For the first time, he dialed not as a beggar, but as a man with something to share.
Anna, I read the letters. I know why you were given away. It wasn't my choice.
I know. I went to the agency. I read it too. She was dying, and she chose for you. I am so sorry.
Meet me at the park. The bench where you tore the paper. Let's start again.
Okay, I'll be there.
He ended the call and looked at the photograph one last time, then placed it in his pocket next to his heart. For the first time, he believed. They arrived at the park separately. Meeting at the same bench, Anna held Elena's letter, Daniel the photograph.
This is where I tore the test. It feels like a lifetime ago.
Then she unfolded the letter and began to read, her voice trembling over words written before she could speak. My love, I write this so you will never think you were unwanted. I wanted you more than my own breath. She paused, tears cutting tracks through the cold. He didn't move. He couldn't.
Did you know? Before today, did you know it was her choice, not yours?
Number. She never told me. I signed those papers believing I was the only villain.
He sat down heavily beside her, inches apart, but separated by a canyon of years.
All this time, I thought I'd failed you both. But she was protecting us from a grief we couldn't have carried.
The letter lay on her lap, ink blurred with fresh tears. The air was no longer angry, just exhausted and waiting. After a long silence, Daniel drew a thin silver chain from his coat. The locket dangled, catching the pale autumn light.
I've worn this since the day you were born. Inside is everything I had left of her, and you.
He opened it. A miniature portrait of Elena and a tiny curl of dark baby hair, still tied with faded thread.
Is that mine?
I never stopped hoping I'd see you wear it one day.
Anna's fingers hovered, then touched the dried curl. Her composure shattered.
This is the first thing that was ever truly mine.
She wept, not for herself, but for the mother who held her close enough to save a lock of hair before letting go.
She loved you more than air, and I've loved you from the moment I lost you.
The locket rested between them on the bench, a bridge made of silver and grief. Anna lifted the locket, closed it with fragile care. Her voice came out rough, a whisper finding its footing.
I can't wear it yet. I need time to sort out who I am with all this.
Take all the time you need. I am not going anywhere.
She pulled his crumpled letter from her coat, pages he'd written in the dark, and handed it back. New ink bled in the margin. The note read, in her hurried script, I am still figuring it out, but I am not going anywhere.
That's all I can promise right now.
Daniel stared at the words, his world tilting on a promise smaller than a whisper. For the first time in decades, he felt the weight shift. She stood and stepped back from the bench. The space between them felt smaller, as if the years had finally exhaled. Their eyes held for a long beat. A silent question passed between them, unanswered but acknowledged. She turned and walked toward the path. He remained on the bench, clutching her note. The sun bled gold through the bare branches, and for the first time he believed in tomorrow. 3 weeks later, Anna earned an internship at Reeves Global. No calls from Daniel, just a hard-won slot she'd fought for in secret. She stepped through the glass doors of the tower, her heart a kettle of old fears and fresh resolve. In the corner office on the 42nd floor, Daniel stared at 2 photographs on his desk. Elena's faded smile and a new one of Anna. A knock interrupted him. Anna stepped in, business card clipped to her blazer.
Mr. Reeves, thank you for making time.
The time is yours. You earned this. I had nothing to do with it.
I needed to know I could stand on my own before I could stand next to you.
He nodded. The distance between them filled with all the words still unspoken. She turned to leave, then paused at the door, her hand on the frame. She looked back, and in her eyes he saw the same hazel that had undone him from the start. Anna stepped back into the room and pushed the door shut behind her. The click was quiet, but it changed everything.
I wanted to hate you, but every time I learn something new, I just feel less alone.
She pulled Elena's letter from her pocket, the one she'd been carrying for weeks. The paper was soft from being held too much.
It wasn't you. It was never you. And I think I knew that the moment I saw your face, Dad.
My girl. My beautiful girl. I've heard that word in my dreams for 20 years.
He crossed the room in 2 broken strides and pulled her into his arms. The years collapsed in a single breath. The locket dangled against her back, and the letter crinkled between them. None of it mattered now. She was finally home. And he had finally kept his promise to Elena. 20 years too late, but right on time. 2 days later, they drove to the cemetery in silence, the locket and the letter resting in Anna's lap. They stood before the simple headstone, Elena Reeves carved in quiet finality. The years fell away in the cold air.
She carried you with her until the end. Now I want you to have this back.
The locket rested against the stone, its tiny portrait catching the light like a wink from another world.
I promised you I'd keep her safe, but she ended up saving me. She has your heart, Elena, your whole heart.
He unfolded the paper and read her words aloud over the grave, his voice an unsteady bridge between then and now.
I'll take care of him now. That's my promise. Rest, Mama.
Daniel reached over and covered her hand with his own. The past exhaled and stilled. They stood a long while in the quiet. 3 generations bound by ink, silver, and a love that outlasted death. Then Anna took his arm, and they walked back toward the car together, no longer haunted, just whole. A month later, the Reeves Foundation gala filled the ballroom. Anna arrived alone, the silver locket glowing against her black gown. Daniel spotted her from across the crowd. She walked with the same quiet grace he'd first seen in a restaurant, but now her eyes held no fear.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to meet my daughter, Anna Reeves.
A hush, then applause rolled through the room like thunder. Anna climbed the steps, her chin lifted toward the future.
I am not a secret tonight. I am not a waitress. I am exactly who I was, always meant to be.
She wore the locket now, retrieved from Elena's stone, a promise that had come full circle.
My wife, Elena, would be proud. Our daughter carries her eyes and her heart.
Camera flashes erupted, freezing the moment that had taken 2 decades to arrive. Anna didn't flinch. She stood in the light. He took her hand, and together they faced the world. No longer a billionaire and his lost secret, but a father and his daughter. The search was over. The story had just begun. Sunday mornings became sacred. Daniel taught Anna his mother's recipes, their laughter softening old grief.
Elena loved this dish. She said it tasted like a hug.
She was right. Now it tastes like family.
Rosa met Daniel on a Tuesday afternoon. The old woman embraced Anna, tears and relief mingling.
I prayed you would find happiness. Now I see it in her eyes.
Daniel nodded, humbled. He shook Rosa's hand. Then she pulled him into a hug, a blessing he'd never expected. At the office, Anna earned her corner. She'd outgrown internships, but her desk remained close, just a glass door away.
I never thought I'd love a desk job. But here, people see me. Anna, not just the lost heiress.
Daniel watched her laugh with colleagues by the coffee machine, a lightness settling into his chest that he'd forgotten was possible. Healing had no finish line, but they had finally started the race together, side by side. Daniel's desk now held 3 photographs. Elena's gentle smile, a faded baby picture, and a recent portrait of Anna, eyes bright and unguarded. Beside them rested the silver locket, empty now, but heavier with meaning than ever.
We found her.
The words hung in the silent room, A prayer fulfilled after 20 years. He closed the locket with a soft click and placed it against Elena's portrait. Outside, the city began to glow with the amber light of dusk. A skyline, no longer cage, but canvas. The search that had cost him decades was over. Not with a grand finale, but with a quiet truth. Some endings are just beginnings wearing different light. The story of Daniel and Anna Reeves was not a fairy tale. It was a reckoning, a resurrection, a homecoming stitched with tears and locket chains, and the love that began with a pair of hazel eyes would never be lost again.